Hello, welcome to Learning Life Podcast. My name is Tadisha, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a safe place where we can both learn and unlearn a lot of things about life. Let's get started.
Hello, welcome back to Learning Life Podcast. I'm Tadisha, and today I have a short but very, very powerful message I want to share with you. And it is about victim mentality. So, first off, I want to say I suffered from victim mentality most of my life. And recently, I have been learning and unlearning all of the things that kind of held me in that victim mentality. So let me briefly explain what this is about. It's a belief that you cannot change your situation, that you are powerless, that everything happens to you, and it's always a problem. There's always something that is keeping you down. There's always something antagonizing you, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's a victim mentality. Now, basically, victim mentality is what we call in psychology learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. And so I just want to share with you quickly, there's this little experiment where they put like a little dog in a cage. And every time they would open the cage, they would shock the dog. And so they kept conditioning the dog, and eventually the dog would it made the connection that every time it tried to leave the cage, that it would get shocked. And so it stopped trying to leave the cage so that it would not get punished anymore. And so they conditioned the little dog or whatever so much that eventually, even when it really needed to go or move to like defecate or get food, it wouldn't leave the cage, even when it had the ability to do so because it had been trained not to leave. Every time it would get punished. And so even though it could walk right out that little cage, it wouldn't because of conditioning, learned helplessness. And so the thing there is, if you can see how that works on an animal, you would think that no, it's not possible. But let me not get off track. The point here is that that experiment shows how conditioning occurs. And that's what happens with learned helplessness, with victim mentality. You keep experiencing things and you assume that everything that happens to you is like a cause and effect. You have one bad experience, and then you think to yourself, oh, what can I do? And then you have another bad experience, and you start to think, is it going to keep going like this? And it's a domino effect. So it will start off sometimes seeming like, oh, this is just one bad incident. And then gradually, due to repeated conditioning, you'll start to internalize that everything is working against you and that you don't have any power to change your situation. It doesn't matter how and in what form it comes in. Eventually, you're going to create a, a schema. You're going to create an idea in your mind that this is how it is. I can't do anything about it to change it. I love something I heard recently from a motivational speaker. He said, I am the problem. And he said, when you realize that, you'll also know I am the solution. So that's sometimes difficult to come to terms with, that you are the problem, but you are the solution as well. And I just want to share with you, personally for me, I always thought that I had no way out. My thinking, as I heard someone say, I love it, stinking thinking. I had stinking thinking. I didn't think I could change myself or my life. And that meant that I thought that I had to succumb to every negative experience, everything that conditions me to limit myself. I succumb to it. Why? Because I have assumed the belief that I have no power. But the best thing that you can do is realize you do have power, and you have to understand that you are the problem. Nothing else is the problem. You are the problem. And that's why with a victim mentality, you're always going to say, this person did that bad thing to me, and it caused this and this and this, and now I'm like this. I'm not going to be able to recover from it. Nothing's going to change. That's what it does to you. So you have to realize, and you have to be responsible for yourself and say, yes, I had a bad experience. I made a mistake. Maybe I was naive to trust this person. Maybe I was naive and foolish to do this. But I have learned from it, and I won't let it teach me to be afraid. I won't let it teach me to become constrictive, never expanding and never changing because I'm afraid to leave the cage. I have to decide to own up to what I did and say, I want to see change. And if I can change and become a better person myself, everything else will work out. And now I want to tell you and share with you an excellent example of victim mentality or learned helplessness in the Bible, okay? It is in John chapter 5, and I'm doing the amplified version, which I find really helpful because sometimes the old English can be a little tricky to grasp the meaning. So I use the amplified sometimes when I want to just get a more plain spoken English, modern English. Okay? So I want to go to John chapter 5, verse 5. As I always say, read the whole chapter. And the chapter after it is even more amazing. Okay? So here it says, there was a certain man there. And I should give you some context. So this is in a place called Bethesda, and it is a place where people would go to get healing because there was an angel that would visit this little pool of water. And every time the angel would visit, the pool of water would become a place of healing. So the first person who went into that pool was healed. So there's this man, and he is trying to get his healing. Okay, he cannot walk. It says here, there was a certain man there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus noticed him lying there helpless, knowing that he had been in that condition a long time, he said to him, do you want to get well? The invalid answered, sir, I have no one to put me in the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I am coming to get into it myself, someone else steps down ahead of me. Jesus said to him, get up, pick up your pallet, and walk. Immediately the man was healed and recovered his strength and picked up his pallet and walked. Amen. If you see what happened there, this man couldn't walk for 38 years. And he believed that he could get healed if he could go into that pool. But every time he tried, he was not able to get into the pool. He said, other people beat me to the blessing. So he's thinking in terms of lack. And he's like, he only sees one solution to his problem, and that is the pool. And he can never get to it on time. He misses the opportunity every time. And then here is Jesus, the bread of life, the healing. He comes right up to that man and he asks him the question, do you want to get well? And Jesus, can I say something? It's amazing because I've been noticing when I read and reread things in the Bible lately, how Jesus would ask people questions and he was really trying to get them to see the truth because Jesus already knew the truth. He is the truth. So he would ask the people a question to get them thinking. And so he asked the man, do you want to get well? And the invalid, he immediately goes into this dialogue that's been in his mind that 38 years. I don't have anybody to help me. I am always late. I always miss the opportunity. Everybody is working against me. They are quicker, they're faster, they get the healing, they get the blessing, the miracle. I am never on time. And so Jesus listens, but he doesn't have time to hear him in that victim mentality. Jesus just tells him, get up, pick up, and walk. Some of us have had experiences that have made us believe that we are powerless and that nothing will change. 38 years is a long time to be laying and waiting for a miracle. And Jesus came in the most unexpected time and healed him immediately. Jesus commanded him, he said, get and walk. Get up and walk. We want to see all the problems and all the things that seem to hold us back. We want to see all those things. But the truth is that you can do it. With God, you can do all things. With God, you can do all things. So I hope this message blessed you like it has blessed me. And I hope you join me next week for another episode. Please stay blessed. Take care.
This is Learning Life Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you learned something, that you enjoyed this episode. If you want to support this podcast, please subscribe. Thank you so much. See you next week.